Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a not-so-safe word edition of Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Party. Monster Party. Word up.
Word.
Hey.
Word.
Hey.
I'm talking to the kids now.
Word.
Cold
'Cause you're
chilling.
so happening. You are
I
a
am.
happening guy.
Yes. Yeah.
You're happy.
You're hip. You are the hippest guy.
In the mid 90s, I was not hip. And
No, but
so
speaking of hip, who are you, sir?
I am Matt Weinhold.
I am SHAWN SHERIDAN.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
Woohoo.
And yeah. Did you just give yourself a little woohoo?
I'm hip. I'm feeling hip tonight.
All right.
Ooh.
Okay.
I mean-
Well, see,
I mean,
clearly
yeah,
we're
yeah,
ready
'cause-
to have fun.
Because, the kids are, we're getting letters from the kids.
We are getting the letters from the
Letters.
kids.
Just saying,
Yes.
they're going,
Yes.
Hey there, you
The-
cool cat.
Yeah, the
They're-
letters that were lost in the mail
Hey, Daddy-O.
it finally reached us. In anticipation of the podcast that you will start, here's a letter of praise.
Mm.
All right. Well, let's just get to the point here. And the
'Cause-
point is, we did an episode that was Patreon only, and it was called the Word Association Test, the Monster Party Word Association Test. And this was an experiment. And we did this for our Monster Party patrons, and it was definitely a success. We had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
And the format of this was your basic word association test. One of us would say a word, and then the rest of us would chime in with the genre, film, or project, or what have you, that word reminded them of.
Like that immediately comes to mind.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of like,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
what your shrink would do to fool you.
It says a lot about your personality, but you can play along at home.
Yeah.
When we say a
Yes.
word, you can shout out what comes out of your
Right.
mind,
And
Because
it was
it's kind
very
of,
enlightening.
yeah, it is because it kind
Yeah.
of shows where our minds are always.
That's right.
Which is with all the stuff that we always talk about on the podcast.
But I was very pleased with the answers that everybody gave. They were all
Right.
right on the money. They were perfect. And so we thought this was so good that we wanted to share it with our regular free audience. And
Yes.
so for this episode, we present to you the Monster Party Word Association Game.
Dun,
Monster
dun,
Party
dun.
Word Association game.
The Word Association game. It's a game. Don't, you know what?
Come on down.
Don't get
Come on
weirded
down and
out
play
by
the
it. Don't get
game. No.
weirded out that somehow you're going to learn something about yourself that you don't like. No, don't go there. You're going to be fine. It's a game.
Yeah.
It's a game.
It's
That's what I
a
keep telling
game.
myself. It's only a game.
It's a game
only
with
a game.
With a bunch of sci-fi horror nerds. What could go
Yeah.
wrong?
Nothing at all. This is a
It's
safe
the
place.
it's the Nerd Association test.
It is-
Yes. That's right.
Yeah. And frankly, if we went into a therapist and the therapist gave us this test, it would be the same, right? Like,
Probably.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well,
know.
and here's the thing. If you were to take some of these words and go out to the regular Joe on the street and say
the
a
regular
particular
Joe.
word, they may say something that's completely different from what we would see. And if you say, and if you're a fan of this show, you'll be like us and you're going to say cool,
Maybe.
fun things. You know?
Yeah. You never
But
know.
then-
Yeah.
You never know.
That's true. That is true. That's true. So
Yeah,
what do
I
you
mean, we-
say we get going, huh?
Yes,
Come on.
I agree with that. I think we should
Let's
get
do it.
going immediately. And
Well, but I want to state for everybody that there's no cash prize here.
there is no cash
There's
prize.
there is no right or wrong. Well,
Well,
there's-
Larry, of course, in your mind, there is a wrong.
well, yes. Yeah, well, I mean, if you're going to say, did I chastise one of you for saying something that I thought was stupid? Maybe I did.
But what if that's the
but-
thing we thought of? That's not
But
stupid.
that's just it because it's what's in your
I
mind.
thought this was a safe place. Oh, I
It-
said that.
it-
That's right. No, for you,
well-
this is like, yay, the war is on.
no,
Attack!
this is a safe place. No, we're all friends. We all,
Well,
like
see
each
how long
other.
that lasts. This could be it, folks.
So what do you say?
Could be the last episode.
We roll up our sleeves and roll the dice, money thing, and let's get going.
Spend the money thing. Even though there is no money involved.
I avow.
Just for your own satisfaction, spend the money thing.
There we go. Yes. All right. So
You're
can I
up.
start with a word? So here's
Yes,
the word.
please.
The word is possession.
Ooh.
Possession. That is the first word. So for you listeners at home, what do you think of when you hear the word possession?
Are we all ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Sean.
Well, I mean, it may seem cliched, but I kind of do go to The Exorcist because it's probably one of the first times I heard that word being used so much when that movie came out in the early 70s. So I was still young, so it was like possession. That the whole idea of devil possession became so in the whole zeitgeist of the time. So
Someone had to say zeitgeist, and I'm glad it was you, Sean.
Yeah. But it's true though. I mean, and it spawned so many imitators and ripoffs. And it was everywhere. It was everywhere. Possession, devil possession. So possession.
I mean, I think all of us went there first, right?
Yeah. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Yeah.
I'm curious. Yeah. So where did you go second?
Me?
Or did you go second? Because I thought of a couple things all at the same time.
I kind of that was really the first thing.
See, I went to Evil Dead after that.
Oh, okay.
Because Evil Dead to me has some of the most delightful possessions.
Right.
The most creepy but fun possessions. Right. And they're all over the place.
Yes, true.
And then the other one that I went to was Beyond the Door.
That's
because Beyond the Door, I couldn't even tell you what the movie's like. I think I saw it 25 years ago, but I remember as a kid watching the trailer, and it was of course it was right around the time, and the trailer scared the fuck out of me. Scared me more than the Exorcist trailer. Like
same here.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was so unnerved. I mean, that trailer gave me nightmares for a good month.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So yeah.
James, how about you?
Well, I first went to The Exorcist as well, and then second to a film I actually just talked about on our last episode from 1981, the Polish director with Sam Neill and Isabella Gianni, called Possession. So,
got to see that.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because we've talked about this before, but I kind of missed out on the whole Exorcist thing because, I went to a private school, and when the film came out, it's like I couldn't get anyone to talk about it. My brothers would not talk about it. And even when I said, it's about this Exorcist, oh, Larry, you don't say that word, mom and dad will get it, and I couldn't ask my mom and dad, didn't want to get them upset. So it's like, I actually didn't get to it for a while. I was lost in that whole, I didn't see much of the Exorcist stuff because no one would talk about it in my world that I was in. It took a while, but a little bit later I did see that preview, Matt, of Beyond the Door, and it, like you, it freaked me out, and I had nightmares too from that trailer.
Whoever did that deserves an award or something.
And it was weird because I believe how I saw it was we were supposed to see some Disney movie. And it was in a multiplex. No. We were supposed to see a Disney movie, and I went out of the theater to see what was in the other theater.
Oh, right.
And that's where I saw it. And it was so terrifying. And I thought it was like God punishing me for sneaking into the other theater. And he showed me this terrible trailer. So it messed me up, man.
At least you saw it in a theater. Like I if I remember correctly, I was at like my grandmother's house, and we're watching the regular run of sitcoms. It's like Hogan's Heroes just ended, and Petticoat Junction was coming up, and then all of a sudden, Beyond the Door. Like, what the fuck? What are you doing to me?
I think there's a sound up in the trailer. It's like, "Who are you?"
Yes.
It's like, "Oh no, not the nanny from Nanny and the Professor, possessed by the devil."
Yeah, right. Juliette Mills.
Because I loved her. I loved her. It was one of those.
She
things
dabbled, so that's what you get.
But see, the thing is it was disturbing. It's wrong. It's like you can't have this lovely lady from Nanny and the Professor to be doing this. It was wrong. That was another thing that was messed up. But anyway, So you see, folks at home, this is how we play.
This is how we do it.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. Sean, how about you?
All right. What comes to mind when you hear the word whisper?
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Everybody else?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyone want to jump in?
I'll jump in. First thing I think of is an Italian film from the 70s called Whisper in the Dark. And it's a film, it's a little bit like The Omen. It's about a kind of a creepy kid. The reason that this movie's even on my radar is because it's got a gorgeous score by Pino Donaggio, who had done a lot of Brian De Palma scores. And it's never been released. But it's one of those Italian kind of like, it's got the choir of children chanting, it's one of those types of scores.
Sure.
But that's where my mind goes when I hear Whisper.
Okay.
Okay, I like it.
Sean, I'm sorry. It's kind of stupid, but it was the first thing that came to my mind, and I took it a little more literally. So you said Whisper, and the first thing that came to my mind was from Flash Gordon, the Sam Jones version, where Flash Gordon has been captured. He's put in a chair. They're gonna gas him to death. And what happens is there's this doctor who leans over and he whispers to Flash Gordon. And the thing that's always bugged me about it is I've never been able to figure out exactly what the whisper says. It says something like, just walk away, or something like, I don't know what it is. But it's a whisper. Yeah. It's a freaking whisper. And to this day, maybe I'm sure there's some Flash Gordon fans that go, oh, Larry, I have the script, and what he said was blah, blah, blah. But I don't know what that blah, blah, blah was.
You probably Google it, I'm assuming.
That's interesting, though.
If only I had an electronic device which could help me figure this out.
Maybe someone will write us a letter and tell us.
Look, I'm just saying, Sean said whisper. That's the first thing that popped into my mind.
Okay.
The doctor whispering to Flash Gordon.
Okay.
There.
Nice.
For me, Friday the 13th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that
soundtrack. Yeah. Right.
Those sound like whispers, and they're spooky. And when I look at that, especially the first movie, that movie would be a completely different experience without that soundtrack.
For sure.
That soundtrack really sets that thing alight. I mean,
absolutely.
It really
Harry Manfredini.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right. It is a kind of a maybe underappreciated score. I mean, because first of all, sure, the movie maybe is riding on the coattails of John Carpenter's Halloween, but the score is not at all like Carpenter's score for Halloween. It's almost a little bit more Bernard Herrmann-esque and Psycho inspired at times with the, it's a great sharp score. It's good. I
love it. And the first film is one I go back and forth on because sure, it does not have Jason. I mean, it does have Jason, spoiler alert at the end, which is wonderful. But I would argue that it's very different from Halloween in the sense that it's more of a murder mystery.
Yeah, it is. That's what I know. I think it's quite good for its time. And yeah, it is. You're right, though. It's more like a giallo, almost like an American giallo.
And Betsy Palmer is, I think, genius.
She's great. She's so great.
What's so nice to see is that she went in there and just let loose.
Yeah, gave it her all.
Yep, gave it her all.
Just do. Yeah, no, she's great. Yep. That's good. That's good. I would say that when I was writing this, my first thought was, let's scare Jessica to death.
Oh yeah.
Because throughout the movie, it's kind of from Jessica's point of view, and she may or may not be going crazy. And she has this inner monologue where she's always talking to herself, but she's talking to herself in whispers, like, what's going on? Like, it's really good.
He likes her.
Yeah. It's good. So yeah, that's what I thought of.
That was a great one.
Good one.
Fun.
All right, cool.
Great.
All right, James, how about you?
Glove.
Ooh.
Glove.
Got it.
Where do you go with glove?
And your time is up.
Okay. All right. Look, you said glove, and it was the first thing that popped in my what?
No, it's just I like the way that your intro was kind of look. All right.
You're already giving a disclaimer before you even say anything.
I know that the regular Joes out there aren't going to agree with you.
Okay, it's okay. This is what just happened for listeners. You're all confused. What's going on with Larry? It's kind of like this time when Sean and we were talking about, I mentioned a robot from Earth vs. the Flying Saucers, and he goes, Larry, but that's not a robot. That's really an alien. And I'm all, oh, Sean, you're right. I'm sorry, my bad. James said glove, and the first thing that popped in my mind, I realize now, is not really a glove. But I'm going to say it anyway, because it's the first thing that popped in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about Dr. No, the evil villain from Dr. No.
Oh, yeah.
He has these hands. Yeah. It's not really a glove. He's got these, I guess, hands that are more like mechanical devices, right?
Prosthetic.
But they're like more mechanical. It's not really a glove. I guess maybe there's something over the mechanical device, I guess. But that was the first, because there's this great scene. I don't want to explain it, but where something happens because of his hands. So that was the first thing I thought of.
Okay, I like that.
Sean, if you like it, that's good, Sean.
I think I thought of actually the Oliver Stone horror film with Michael Caine, The Hand, because at some point he gets like a prosthetic thing like that, but it's like a black glove, that kind of just like doesn't move. But that's a crazy movie, which I love.
I don't remember that movie too well, but I just, when you said glove, I thought that maybe that's the end where, like the whole, it's like a sort of like a Lassie movie or something.
Right.
Man was always looking for that glove, and
right.
It's like the giant breasts run amok, and everything you always know. I don't know where they get a giant bra, and then they trap the breast in the giant bra. So,
a great segment, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Matt,
I've handled tits before.
I'm sorry, listeners, about that. Matt,
that was a quote from the movie.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Sean.
Larry, mine is kind of similar to yours, because what I thought of was Demon with the Glass Hand, the Outer Limits episode. Story by Harlan Ellison. Great. Starring Robert Culp, who's amazing in that role. But he has this computerized hand, and he is looking for missing fingers for it. And each finger that he finds is like adding another nodule of information to his computerized hand. When the hand is not wearing a glove, it's beautiful. I wish someone would make some sort of prop of that.
Yeah.
It just lights. I mean, it's translucent and it lights up, and I wish I had that.
Something that was a mass, where they made like 1,000 of them, like maybe Mezco could make 1,000 of, it'd be more of a high price thing. But yes, Matt, I don't know why someone has it. I would too. And by the way, for listeners who haven't seen this, not only is it a great story, but it's shot in a beautiful location.
Sure. The Bradbury building.
It's the Bradbury building, and the way it's lit, and it's just a great story.
The only negative to that episode is the aliens. The aliens are, at one point, there's one that's like wearing a nylon stocking over his face.
Yeah, with like kind of eyeshadow around his eyes.
Like dark circles under his eyes. And it was a strange choice. Like they could have done anything else.
It's television, and all the money went into the location. Okay,
to the hand,
or Robert Culp's salary, maybe. Yeah,
right.
No, I don't think he was as big then. But
it's great. And so when he is walking around and he doesn't want to advertise that he has this hand, he has a black glove over it. But I remember as a kid, the first time he takes off the glove and talks to that hand, and I look at that hand, and there's a the kid logic. You're like, I want a hand like that.
right.
If only I had a hand like that, life would be different.
Right.
Yeah.
Eat my peas. Yeah, right. You tell her, hand.
Oh, that's great. That's a great one. Nice one, Sean.
I'm Matt, but I know I'm on my way out. I get it. I understand.
No,
James, this is going to be like Office Space. I'm just going to stop getting not paid.
James, that was a great one. Well, Matt, why don't you do a word now? Why don't you pick a word?
Yeah, man, go ahead. Do your little word thing.
Give me a little word. All right. Here you go. I don't even know if I have one for this. So I want to see where you guys go. Okay. Ooze.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooze.
Got it.
Ooze.
Got it.
Ooze.
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 It was instant.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Kind of for me too.
All right. Great. I
Well-
can't wait. Larry, give it to me.
Matt, when you said it, the first thing that came into my mind was from Sigmund and the Sea Monster, because Sigmund's name is Sigmund.
Oh,
Ah, that's
good.
interesting.
Great. When he picks up and goes, hello, hello.
Yeah.
And I thought, how can you not love Sigmund?
That's interesting that you went for the sound of the word.
Yeah. No, I love
The
it.
saying of the word instead of like something visual like that.
Great choice.
Yeah.
Great
Right.
choice.
Yeah.
No, Sigmund.
I
was
love that.
simple, but
Yeah, cool.
it was instant, Matt. Instant for me.
Yeah. Wow. I mean,
Okay.
I was never that crazy about Sigmund. I wanted the show to be about the brothers and that family. Like, but that's me.
Okay. Well,
All right.
I thought I
What's wrong
immediately.
with you? Do you like
I don't
Sigmund?
know, Larry. I really don't.
I love
So-
Sigmund actually.
See,
Well, I just
Yeah,
the
a man
Sigmund's
with
character
heart.
was kind of, hey, everybody.
Well, yeah, but that
No,
was
he's-
the point.
he's a fish out of water. He's like the Little
Literally.
Mermaid. Okay,
I know-
come
I know,
on.
but that doesn't mean he's brimming with charisma.
Well, yeah, he's
But
got
his
loads
but
of
his
charisma.
brothers and the what is the Big Daddy? The
Yeah,
he was great. Yeah,
I
beat
love
him
the
up,
daddy.
and they
because he was like
made fun
Archie
of him.
Bunker kind of. Yeah.
See, because
Yeah.
I had two older brothers just like that. That were maybe that's where I identified with Sigmund. I'm like,
Possibly,
I
yeah.
understand.
The doll.
But
Okay,
what
so
did you
well,
guys think?
I immediately went to Larry Cohen's film, The Stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I watched it last
Oh.
night, by the way.
Really? Yes.
Yeah.
So, because that's you just see that oozing, and it's
Ooze,
coming out the
very
ground.
good.
They have vats of it. They're coming out of Garrett Morris's face. I mean, I love it.
That is a very creative movie.
It's so. I mean, again, like nobody made movies like Larry Cohen. I mean, it's
No.
That's
it's
true.
like somebody else could have made a killer ice cream movie, but it wouldn't have been like Larry Cohen. That's why it's so great.
Well, and then
It should-
he'd always add like a little bit of class to it with like
Yeah,
Michael
I mean,
Moriarty.
Yeah,
he's so
yeah.
great. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sean, is it you have a container or do you have some of the stuff?
Yes,
I
no.
forget.
Several years ago at Monsterpalooza, I think was a set of Monsterpalooza when Larry Cohen was still around. He had a little booth and he was selling. He had tons of those cardboard containers of the stuff at his booth, and they were all leftover props from the movie.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's
so it's great.
super
Yeah, I have it.
cool.
In my, I mean, it's totally cool. Yeah,
Super
So,
cool.
ooze.
Good. James?
Well, where my mind went, it was to a movie title, a movie I've never seen, but it's the only movie title that I'm aware of that includes the word ooze, and that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze from 1991.
That's right.
So-
Yeah, that's
Wow.
good.
That was
Yeah.
it.
Wow.
Is that what the Henson? That's what the Henson.
Yeah, I
articulated?
think
I think it was a
so,
live
yeah.
action ones because I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
the origin story of the mutant turtles is that they got like radiation goo thrown on them. I think, right? I mean, Larry, isn't that the case?
I think so.
I have
Yeah,
no
yeah.
idea.
And I
don't
think
know
they had a-
anything
they had-
about.
They
Yeah.
had toys. I think they had a toy set where like you got like the green slime type stuff. You could pour it on the figures that you had. Yeah. So that was yeah. They were all about ooze.
It was just funny during that time where it was just like, how can we fit ooze into this toy?
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah,
that
well, I
was a
mean,
good one.
as soon as I said it, what I thought of, and right off the bat, I swear there was just like all of a sudden it just entered my head was the Incredible Melting Man.
Oh, yeah,
my
okay.
gosh!
Yeah.
Yes,
A lot of oozing
man.
there.
Oh, there was a
It's for
lot,
sure.
lot of ooze.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
the Blob, right? I mean, that's
Sure,
you know,
sure,
Yeah,
that's some
yeah.
oozing. Yeah,
Some good oozing.
some quality oozing.
But anyway, if you're listening at home, so that's how we roll. That's the way the game is played. So what,
yes.
Folks,
What do
we'll
you
be
say we do
checking
some
in on
more?
you
No,
Yeah.
with each
I
round.
just want to let listeners know that.
Everyone okay?
You know what?
Are you guys okay?
Yeah. Well, let's keep going. Okay.
Let's keep going. Yes,
Let's
please.
keep going.
All
Who's
right.
next?
I've got a word for me.
Cool.
So here's your word. You guys
Me?
ready?
Me is the word?
No.
Oh,
word.
sorry. Go ahead.
The word is Corman.
Corman. Okay.
Corman.
Wow, I got it.
Corman?
Yes.
Corman.
Okay.
Corman.
Corman.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me
Okay.
too.
I mean,
All right.
there's one go-to place.
Kind of.
For me,
me.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what yours is. Somebody give me one.
Well,
For me,
James?
it's Roger Corman, the legendary
Right.
filmmaker.
me too. Me too.
Well, I
I
don't
hope
think
it
we
was
were
I
gonna.
hope it was gonna go a little further than
Yeah, I didn't
that,
think you were gonna
but-
go to like Gene or
I thought.
So that's what you went to? Is just Roger Corman, and then stop there?
No. I wanted you guys. What is everyone?
Anybody
just saying
else?
Roger Corman. That's it.
Well, because it's like a name. It's just it's a last name.
You don't think of a movie. You don't think
Larry,
of a.
I'm sorry. I want to apologize for these guys. No imagination.
Oh,
Stopped at Corman. You know where I went, Larry? You know where I went?
Where?
Mask of the Red Death.
See, yes, there's so much.
But it's it's the immediate. But before you think of his movies, which are like 100 movies he's made, you first go to him. That's if it's the immediate first thing.
That's the knee jerk.
Right.
Knee jerk reaction. Yeah.
Sure, we could.
Well, I couldn't. I mean, because
Aristophanes.
Word association. It's
ridiculous.
Not words association. I couldn't say Roger Corman. And then you guys, I was hoping you guys were going to say
Larry,
Mask of the Red Death.
It's perfectly fine.
Larry, what do you think of when you hear the word Spielberg? Go. What is it?
E.T. That's what I think of.
See, and that's what I thought of. That's what I thought of too. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of that movie, because I knew that's what Larry would think. So that's where.
True. Yeah, that's true.
But, it's funny. Why Roger? I mean, guys. He has just celebrated his 97th birthday.
I know.
Wow.
97 years old.
That's awesome.
Now he wrote a book called How I Made 100 Films in Hollywood and Never Lost a Dime. I have an autographed copy of the book, and it's amazing. But the funny thing is, a lot of the stuff that he talks about in that book, it's like you can't really apply today. At least I don't think so. In our modern day, even with his
different times,
even in his, he still goes to work. He still is, doing this whole thing. I mean, his company has always evolved with the times.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, if you follow the career, I mean, as about like 15 years ago, he was making films specifically for Sci-Fi Channel. So it's not like, hey, I made a low budget film to be a second feature at the drive-in. Right. Those days are gone.
Right.
So it's kind of like, yes, he was a very successful filmmaker, and
he adapts.
And he adapted, and he is responsible for bringing so many amazing filmmakers, giving them their first opportunity. To either direct or produce or star. And so he's a legend. I can't say that you could apply the same rules of filmmaking now as you did back then, but still. Right.
No, but the thing that astonished me about Roger Corman is that you look at those earlier films and the little more kind of schlockier, low budget films, and then the minute he gets a budget, he makes those Poe films. And I'll put those up against anything. They look amazing, direction, beautiful, acting, superb.
I will say this, Matt, and I would love to do maybe a whole evening on Corman. But the funny thing is, when you look at a lot of these films, and granted, it's not 100% of the time, but one of the things that he recognized is sometimes he would have actors who could really commit and do a role on like a one take. Or one or two takes, because when people wonder, how did you make the film so fast? Well, guys, it's like there was a script. These actors memorized their lines, or they did one take and they moved on. And Matt, you say they're pros. Sometimes, they'll do a performance that maybe Roger didn't necessarily want, but it's like, you know what? It's good enough. Let's move on. So sometimes it's as good as the people that you pick to be in these things. And I mean, throughout his career, when you see whether it's Vincent Price or Karloff or Peter Lorre or Nicholson or whoever it is, they gave really good, great, or decent performances,
or memorable.
Memorable. Yeah.
And think about Little Shop of Horrors. That was this little movie, but yet
tuned over a weekend.
Yeah. And what did it turn into? This gigantic musical. And when you think about it, it's a fun, unique storyline.
Yeah, it's very clever.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
I'm a fan.
Thanks, Matt, for really going at it.
My pleasure, Larry.
Larry, for going all out, 100%.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, Sean. Why don't you give us a word?
Okay, here's a word. Architecture.
Ooh.
Got it.
Okay. You have something, James?
I think of Mike Brady because he was like when I was growing up, he was the only architect. The Brady Bunch dad, he was the architect. He always had the plans on his table. It's
wow.
James,
I'm the literal one.
I know,
Wow.
right? James, you really don't want to be in the show anymore.
Hey,
wow.
this is just the first place.
It's like,
brain
with the word we're like murder. You go like she wrote.
Actually, maybe you might have a point there. Yeah.
Wow.
In fairness, there are a couple Brady Bunch episodes which have some spooky things in it.
Yeah.
No, but architecture, I would think. I mean, it's
don't say anything, Sean. Let the rest of us say something.
It's just a weird choice, but okay, yeah. Okay,
no, I don't think it's a weird. I mean, you mean?
I mean, it's interesting.
James.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Look, when I was a little kid,
I wasn't expecting it.
I didn't know the word architecture, but when I saw the Brady Bunch and I saw what Mike Brady did, then I understood what architecture was. So that's why my brain went there.
All right,
okay, Sean.
Okay, thank you for that.
The first image that came into my mind when you said that word was Metropolis, the big city with the Art Deco, which I love. That architecture. It's a combination of it's vintage old, but it's new, futuristic. Yeah. That architecture in that entire film is just stunning.
Kind of like the Blade Runner of its time in a way. Visually that way.
Well, the funny thing is Blade Runner to me, I mean, it's interesting. It's like city layer upon layer. Metropolis doesn't seem like that to me. It's this beautiful, majestic, artistic. It's kind of like if you had, when architects who are building a skyscraper, you build a straight building up on all four sides. It's dull. It's not interesting. In Metropolis, there's angles and balconies and sharp triangular things, and it's beautiful to look at. To me, that film and the architecture in that is just stunning. And
it is.
It was instant, Sean, when you said that.
It's groundbreaking too.
It is. This is a film directed by Fritz Lang, done in 1926, and still the architecture to this day, I just find it amazing. That was mine.
That's cool. Good choice.
See,
I like that.
You said, Sean, Blade Runner, and that was the first thing that came to my mind because I love. Oh
really?
Yeah. The first thing that came to my mind was Blade Runner because I would like to have prints of all those buildings just all over the place.
I know.
They're so fucking beautiful. And what makes them even more special is that they were models.
Yeah,
Somebody actually
physical
made that.
Models. Yep.
And it looks so good. Once again, it feels real. And I know that people with CGI can do stuff that's impressive now, but I mean, somebody had some glue and, got back trouble from gluing the little panels in. And so that movie, so I thought of that first, but then the other things that I thought of were two cartoons that go hand in hand because of the main character is Popeye. And there's one Popeye cartoon where he has these termites that are causing him all kinds of trouble. He's trying to build this house and they're eating all the wood. And, like cartoon termites, they eat the wood instantly.
Right.
No matter what he tries putting a moat around his house and they get a little boat and they cross the moat and come over. And so finally he's just, what am I going to do? He makes a house out of steel. So it's like these steel panels with rivets. Right. James, you remember this one, right?
Vaguely.
No? Yeah, and so he makes
It's been a while.
He makes this steel house, and so the termites come and they're trying to eat it, and then you see a close up of the termites, and their little fangs are all bent up, and they're swirls around their head, and they, and so he's sitting in his steel house, and he's relaxing in his comfortable steel chair. I'm like, I know this sounded like a good idea initially.
Wow.
And then he puts his pipe in his mouth, and then the termites go, whoa, and they run to the pipe and they eat the pipe. And then now he has a steel pipe. So apparently now, forget about insecticide or anything like that. Fuck, I got to make everything
build a whole house
now. Right. And then the other Popeye cartoon was Popeye is with his nephews, and he's trying to build a house. I forget if the nephews fuck up his house or something goes wrong with the house. So the nephews decide to take over building the house. And I forget if they eat spinach to make them superpowered to be able to do this, but I think that's what happens. And so the nephews would play music, and they're playing this music as they're building the house. And the house turns into like a skyscraper. It's just going up and up and up and up. And at one point there's a cloud, and the building turns to avoid the cloud and keeps going.
I remember that.
And at that point I'm thinking, oh, there's no way this is going to last. This in a minute, this thing is going to collapse. But
wow.
But it's just
Weird.
the things that spark your imagination.
Yeah, it's
like
weird.
bad
That's weird.
architecture. And I was thinking, like, I wonder if, Mr. Brady designed this. So
right. What I was thinking of, when I wrote it down, what came to my mind was more interior architecture. I thought of Dario Argento.
Ooh,
because Suspiria, but also just last night I watched Inferno, which is all about a structure, a building that houses all this evil, and there's keys and secrets revolving around it. That movie is, I think, literally Argento's most beautiful looking movie.
It is.
That movie is out of control. Watch a good 4K Blu-ray whatever version of Inferno. It is incredible. Every shot is a piece of art. Yeah, it's amazing.
I agree.
Yeah. Nice one, Sean. Nice.
So there you go.
Well, Mr. Brady, James, why don't you give us a word?
Chew. CHEW. Chew.
Chew.
Chew. Chew on that.
Chew on that.
Did you have to spell it for us for a reason?
Well, you might have misheard it as like true or something.
Or
choo-choo. Choo-choo, yeah.
Chew.
Chew.
Okay, got it.
All right. Anybody want to go?
So at first when you said chew, James, I'm trying to think, I'm like, what's it? And then it just kind of popped it out of the back of my head. And there's a sequence in Night of the Living Dead when it is after where the young couple, they're driving away in the truck. And I'm talking about the classic 1968 version. They're driving away and the truck explodes. Right. And after the truck explodes, all the zombies come. And the music is so creepy. The way it's shot is so creepy. But the zombies come and take apart the remnants of what's left of the young couple that were there. And they're all kind of fighting. They're all kind of zombie-like. But there's a moment right before it cuts back into the house. There's a zombie that lifts up and he's chewing on, it looks like it's part of an arm or a leg or something. Yeah. And he's chewing and he's like, do you remember that?
Yep.
It's like a little pieces. And it's like, I remember seeing the very first time I saw that, it kind of made me nauseous. It made me sick to my stomach. And it was like
scary.
It was so scary to me. And I know, as time has progressed, people go, oh, it's a classic. Guys, back when you're watching on an old TV set in the 70s and it's late at night and there's no one else around, it was terrifying. And I would still say that even today in the right surroundings, it's still really scary, that film.
In total agreement. And I remember as a kid thinking, because you see them attacking people earlier, but when the truck catches fire, in my mind, I'm like, that's so scary and disgusting. But this is probably the first time they've ever had cooked food.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like barbecue. And it's smoking. It's still kind of smoking.
Yeah, and I'll bet you the zombies in their limited capacity kind of went, what is that? Oh.
But James, that's
good one.
It took a second, but that's what I thought of when you brought up chew.
I like that. For some reason, what I thought of immediately was in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, when the bully character who stole his bike, he's like this rich kid. He's over at his house and he's like, oh, let's make up. Here, would you like some gum, spearmint, or fruit? And he takes it, and it's like joke gum, and it comes out all black, and he's just laughing at it. I don't know. I love that scene.
Yeah, me too.
That's what I immediately thought of. I don't know why. I love that.
I always wanted to know what that was. I want to get that gum. Like
it was Francis, I think was the guy.
Francis, right?
Yeah. And because he doesn't know, he's just sitting there chewing and smiling. It's like it's black and like Pee-wee's like, I don't know. That's what I thought.
Well, didn't they used to sell that gum like in the back?
They
of
did. I mean,
stores?
I don't know if it looked like that, but there was
like this gelatinous
black
tar comes out like a black version of the stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I thought of.
Good one, Sean.
You know, I went to a classic. I went to Jaws.
Okay.
When Quint is getting chewed on.
Wow,
that's true.
The way that Spielberg gradually reveals the shark in the movie. When we get to Quint, you really see it.
Right.
And that's when it really looks good. Like in the horrific moment, whatever telltale signs that this was a model go away when you see this thing covered in blood and chewing Robert Shaw.
And it's fate too that it happened that way, right? I mean, James would know this best, but like it's only because they had so many issues with the shark that they didn't show it that much, right? And it paid off. It was like
there you go.
Turned out to be a blessing.
Yeah. Like I mean, just imagine if it was. I mean, I don't know if it worked so perfectly and it was like this amazing thing that would have shown it probably a lot more. But that probably wouldn't have been as effective.
No, it would have been more like Jaws 2, which
or any of the sequels.
But that's why when you do see this thing chomping down on Quint, it's so shocking.
Yeah, it is.
Because oh my God, there it is.
And it's funny, Matt. Sometimes, and James might know this too, but when it's on commercial television, sometimes you have to make selective choices of trimming certain things in little places. And believe it or not, the scene where Quint meets his demise is actually shortened just a bit. If you catch it, let's say if it shows on Turner Classic Movies, which it did recently, they show the whole thing uncut, unedited. Yeah. And the scene seems like it is so disturbing when you see Quint as he's kicking the shark, kicking the face, and know it's almost inevitable. How long can you keep this up? And it seems like an eternity, and it isn't. But it's such a terrifying moment. But it's I love seeing it all the way through. Sometimes listeners, if you check it out if it's playing on American Movie Classics or whatever, sometimes that scene is edited. They and you don't get the full impact of it. And, it's funny, Matt, when you brought that up, it made me think after Quint meets his demise, there's the scene where the shark is swimming in the water going towards Brody. And there's a shot of his mouth and you can see little bits and pieces of Quint. That's
right. That's right.
Terrible way to die.
Well, yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah. Nice
Love it.
One.
All right.
Nice one. All right. Good one. Okay. So
who's next?
It's Matt. It's Matt's turn.
Okay. How about Cobwebs?
I got it.
Yeah. I mean, Dracula, Universal Pictures from 1931.
That was mine too, James.
Yeah.
Because it's a great moment.
Right. And it's what made me laugh was when we had the Pitbull of comedy,
Bobby Slayton.
Bobby Slayton.
And I'm going to tell him
for the first time.
You only know him as the Pitbull of comedy.
Well, I mean, that's his nickname, right? When he was on for our Universal Monsters episode way back in the day, and he made a joke about how the cleaning crew used to clean up the cobwebs overnight because they thought they were real cobwebs.
That's great.
But it wasn't until I was older and I actually read this, because consciously it never entered my psyche.
I know what you're talking about.
Dracula is in the front of the cobwebs as if he would have had to walk through them, but they are undisturbed. So it's like, well, how did he walk through them if they're undisturbed, right? So it's like a subliminal thing.
Great. A really subtle moment.
It is big, and it's a simple cut too, but it just works perfectly. Like it's now you'd see him go through it and it'd be like no, it's like it doesn't work. It's like they did it perfectly.
Yeah. So that's
plus the size of that web. It's like across the entire staircase.
Yes.
Like Jesus Christ, where's that spider?
Right.
Yeah, that's mine too. Yep.
All right. Well, mine was a little different. I immediately thought
Charlotte's Web.
Actually, no. That sounds like something that James Gonis would say, not Larry Strothe.
My mind did go there, I will confess.
Okay. No, Mr. Weinhold. My first thought was actually from 1982's Raiders of the Lost Ark. The opening sequence.
That's
Sure.
When Indy's going through the very first, trap, and he's got all the big spider webs, and he's with that guy, and he goes, "Senor," and he turns around and he's got spider on him, and then he tells the guy to turn around, and he's got all the spiders, and there are cobwebs everywhere.
Yeah.
And so, and I mean, the first time I saw that film, I mean, the funny thing is, for some reason, I missed the previews, and when I went to see it, I remember seeing the poster and go, what? So Han Solo's wearing a cowboy hat? I didn't know. And it's like, I had no idea. I had no idea what I was going to see. And right from the very start, that whole sequence within the first 5 minutes, I mean, I was hooked. And that sequence with the spiders and the spider webs, it was awesome.
And that's Alfred Molina.
Molina. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I remember when I saw that film, once the ball thing happened, I was like, okay, this may be the greatest movie ever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the new one. Not.
Oh, come on, Sean. Really?
Larry, really? So you think it's going to be as magical and amazing as the first movie?
Well, Sean, look. Okay, let me throw this out at you. No, Sean, because we're not back in '82. We're not like 15 years old anymore.
Do something else.
And
exactly. We're not in '82.
No, Sean. It's like as a more mature individual now. I mean, Indy is more mature too. I don't know where it's going to go, but it's a different director, Sean. It's a different director.
Yeah,
I have a feeling. It's not going to be there's a Spielbergism in here. I think it's going to be completely different, Sean.
Larry, based on the history of all the other sequels, do you think this is going to be a good movie?
I am hopeful, Sean. Of course I'll see it. I admire your eternal optimism, Larry.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, whatever. I mean, of course I'll see it, but I'm not going to go with any high expectations at all.
Maybe, Sean, that's just it. If you don't go in with high expectations, I want to see Academy Award winner. I'm Sean Sheridan.
I never want to see an Academy Award winner movie. That's not why I go to see a movie.
Okay, but I'm
Jesus
just saying.
Christ.
I'm just saying it'll be fun. It'll be fun adventure. If your expectations are low, it's like, oh, I'm Sean Sheridan. I just want to be dude.
His voice changed. What
That's
happened?
how I talk.
He's like, decide on what his voice is, okay?
I'm just saying. You might be impressed. Let's give it.
I hope so. Yeah.
I think I'm going to go in like the regular Joe.
Of course you are.
Stop saying that. Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying.
All right.
That's your catch-all excuse for anything. Just say you're the regular Joe. You can do anything.
Regular Joe. For me, regular Joe is I go into
polar
Starbucks,
opposite of regular Joe.
I go into Starbucks and I ask for a regular Joe. That's just like black coffee.
Yeah, Larry.
Yeah, there's no way that movie, even if it's good, there's going to be a part of you that's going to be sad. It's like when when I watched Picard. Now, Picard has other problems, but when you watch that show, there's a part of you that just goes, Patrick Stewart, you've done some amazing work, and maybe you need to just sit down, just take a load off. And it's, what's funny too, is that when you watch Picard, it's not just him looking old. It's when he speaks, you go, oh shit, you're old.
Well, he's losing his voice kind of a little bit. Yeah.
Make it show.
Oh,
it is a little bit.
But we'd love to get Patrick Stewart on the show, so we can talk more
about
it.
We better get him on fast.
Let's just say I don't want to lose track
Genesis
of the game.
wave to get him back.
I'm glad Matt brought up Picard. But Matt, what did you think of when you came up with Cobwebs?
The first thing I thought of was the Munsters.
Oh,
yeah, because I thought of the Munsters because I thought it's sort of like what you guys were talking about when you were talking about Dracula and the cleaning people would come in and get rid of the cobwebs. It's like they have cobwebs all over their house.
Yeah.
And just from a practical point of view, that there'd be some places where you wouldn't want to get this web thing in your face every time you walk down a hallway.
Right.
But saying that, that's the logic part. But just looking at it, they did a really good job. Those cobwebs are really good cobwebs.
The sets that art directing in that show is fantastic.
Yeah,
I love the look of that
cobwebs
show.
and the dust, and it.
Yeah.
You know,
so that's where my mind went.
Even though I may not be the biggest fan of that, I have to hand it to the look of it is great.
It looks great.
Yeah, it really does.
The cobwebs and all of that of the house. I'm gonna admit I do think that's neat. I do think that's cool. So
yeah.
Nice one, Matt.
All righty.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Now we're back to me. Okay, so here's your word. The word is asteroid. Asteroid.
So this is going to be tough because
well,
which bodies would be technically asteroids?
Well, don't play that game. It's like when I say it, something pops into your
Okay.
head.
All right. No. I got it. Okay.
All right.
I can give you mine, the one that I thought of immediately, which was When Worlds Collide.
Oh. Yeah, great.
Now, I'm not sure if that is considered an asteroid. I don't remember how they defined it.
Like a renegade small planet, I guess.
But it doesn't really. It's within the realm.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good. Okay.
That is what you thought of when
That's
I said
what I thought of, and because like that movie, the concept of that happening, I think that was the first time, as a child watching science fiction, that concept ever came into my head of a planet hitting another planet.
Right.
And then that there were two of them.
Yeah.
And one hits the planet. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. And the other one is it's like
the one passes the planet.
Yeah.
Right.
That one is caught by our star and then becomes the new Earth. I thought that was a really interesting concept.
And how would you feel if your new planet looked like how it did at the end of When Worlds Collide? Kind of cartoony.
Oh my God! What
paint trees and it would be kind of cool. What animals live there?
Yeah.
They seem like they would all be made of like glass or something. It's so shiny.
I thought cotton candy. Actually, I thought there'd be cotton.
Oh,
candy
really? Okay.
Animals.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those. That's one of those shots too, where you look at it now and it's so clearly a painting.
Right.
But I love it.
Yeah, somehow it works. It's like they're in that new world,
And for listeners, when George Powell was doing it, please understand that ending, that painting, that was a concept art. That was not supposed to be. Yes, that was not supposed to be the original ending. They ran out of money. It was an expensive film to produce. That my understanding is they ran out of money, or it's like we're running out of time. Remember, they spent all their beautiful models for the ship and stuff. Yeah. And so for that expansive shot where you're looking at all the green, to create that in a model, it would take weeks. It would take a lot of money. This was a quick solution. And
interesting.
I remember seeing it as a kid.
I didn't hate it.
No. No, because I thought it was so otherworldly, Matt.
That's what it is. It's just another world.
And still to this day, I love it. It's like one of my
comfort food.
It is, even though the world is destroyed.
It's 16 people made it. Hey, it's fine.
It's the most feel-good end of the world movie ever made.
As James Gonis kind of helped me figure this out, but on my 15th birthday, which was on a Saturday, I had my figures there that I opened that day, and they sat in front of the TV with me on my 15th birthday, and we watched that. It was the first time I'd ever seen it. It was on Creature Features. It was one of the happiest days of my life.
And how many times has that destruction footage been reused?
Oh, yeah, Matt, a bunch of times. Yeah.
That's how good it was.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
So Sean and James, what did you guys think of?
I thought maybe because also another movie that my wife and I watched again recently, I thought of The Black Hole. There's that scene where those asteroids come and the way they hit the ship, the Cygnus, right? They kind of like Raiders of the Lost Ark, that one big one that rolls through that whole kind of tunnel at them, and they're fire asteroids kind of, and it's cool. I really like and the look of that movie is so unique, and I love the look. I love the interiors of that ship, the huge tall walls with like the colored light, like it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Like it's again. Yeah, it's a movie that I'm transfixed by it visually.
I know. I'm with you.
It's like, and even though there's cheesy moments, I don't mind them. I mind them less and less every time.
I know, exactly.
More forgiving.
Right. I'm on the same page.
I cannot believe Disney has not remade this movie yet. Like, how has that not been remade? If they do, get somebody like John Favreau. But if they do, get somebody like John Favreau or somebody who knows what they're doing and is a true nerd and gets it. Maximilian the robot is awesome. The cast is amazing. Again, it's just that weird movie that didn't make money. Nobody knew what the hell it was at the time, but it's a fascinating movie to watch.
I should hate it, and yet I love it more and more every year.
And
I can't defend it, except for just how beautiful it looks.
Maybe it's like the Goonies syndrome, where like the next generation loves Goonies, even though they know they shouldn't. Maybe we love.
Maybe,
but I think it's different because I think they liked the Goonies back then, where I didn't.
I think right. Was Goonies was a hit though, wasn't it? I think it was a hit.
I don't know.
It was a hit.
Yeah,
maybe
not critically, but I think it did pretty well. The Black Hole is pretty like kind of Tron and the Black Hole both are kind of notorious bombs at the time.
Yeah.
Sean, it's funny you bring this up. To me, it's like uneven. There are parts that I just love, parts that kind of irk me a little bit, but you can't deny the gorgeousness of the beauty of that actual black hole, the Cygnus, that scene that you talked about. It's funny, Sean, for one of my birthdays, it was artwork of the black hole.
Ooh, really?
And they were like these big pictures. And they had a beautiful one of the Cygnus at night where you saw the space and it was black and it was all lit up. And I used that as a background for one of my little space scenes.
Cool.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah. And also now as an adult, I can appreciate some of the creative choices, like the idea that the Cygnus had these huge tall windows so that the black hole itself was almost always in the background of any scene, churning and turning in the background. It was always present, in whatever the scene was. It was just really interesting the way, a lot of thought went into the art direction and the style of it, So it's a fascinating movie.
I guess, plus it's like the John Barry score.
Yeah. The Barry score. It's like
Agreed.
If they did an ending that was maybe a bit more satisfying, not too fanciful or just a little goofy,
way goofy.
And I do think, Sean, if they were to take it seriously, I think they could do an amazing job. But it's like Disney has Star Wars now. That's like, why would we even bother with this stuff?
Yeah,
true.
That's a really good point. Yeah,
I'm just trying to think of it from a producing or from a business point of view. To them, it's like, a black hole is unproven. Oh, it's a cult classic. Why would I remake this? But if someone like Favreau, someone who could be a champion for it.
You have to have somebody who loves the source material.
And someday.
Yeah. There is a new TV series of Willow.
Yeah.
Was.
And now so if they made that, then they can make a new black hole. So yeah.
True.
Overton in that.
And I will say this, Sean,
in the original, in the movie.
For someone who like Favreau who could think out of the box, the cool thing about it is, for listeners, if you haven't seen it, what actually happens towards the end, it could go into a series. You could make that into a whole series.
Sure, yeah. But I just I just like to see like another movie, maybe not so crazily reimagined, just I don't know, just pay homage to the original in a good way, but make it really cool. I don't know. But anyway, you have the original to always watch, and it's a fascinating movie to watch if you're in the right mood.
Yes.
Yes, but I really want to know what James thought of when he heard the word asteroid.
Empire Strikes Back.
Sure.
Don't tell me you're actually thinking of flying into an asteroid field. Well, they'll be crazy to follow us, wouldn't they? In particular, the John Williams music that accompanies that scene where the Falcon is dodging through. Which every time I take Space Mountain in Disneyland, that's the music that's in my head. The asteroid field music. I love that.
That's great.
And how many times has that been ripped off?
Yeah, true. I know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but that's a great one.
James, it's funny you should say that because that is my big asteroid scene. I'll never forget sitting in the theater when that moment happened. It was like the ultimate Star Wars moment. the music as the Falcon is swinging towards you and
towards you back.
And I thought it was so beautiful, and the asteroids, and I thought, this is the ultimate film ever made. I remember that was a magical moment for me. So that was my asteroid moment.
Great choice.
Yeah,
cool.
All right, Sean, why don't you give us a word?
Okay, what do you think of when you hear the word tongue?
Okay,
got it.
Okay, let me tell what I think of immediately.
Go.
The Brainiac.
Great choice.
The Mexican horror film where this
great choice.
creature he shoots his forked tongue out in the back of the neck and sucks out your brain. Perfect movie.
but doesn't just do that, like saves some of the brain for later.
That's true.
That he has in a little like eating tray. And every once in a while he'll pop it open and just take a bite.
For a snack. Yeah.
Getting a little peckish.
Great ridiculous monster.
Yeah.
Bizarre concept for a monster. Just great stuff. All right. So what do you guys think of though?
Okay. The thing that came to mind when you said that, and maybe it's partially because I was going through like a famous monsters recently, and I saw this picture. It has to do with Christopher Lee, I believe in the 1959 Hammer film, The Mummy. There's a scene where he opens his mouth and they like grab his tongue. And what I didn't know was, so what happens is you don't actually see anything. He has his tongue come out, and they have a knife or something, and something is blocked. They actually filmed the native guys holding a tongue, and they didn't leave it in the film. I didn't know that, but that was
Yeah, that was, and wasn't the original Mummy? That was the idea too. But they of course didn't show that back then. But that was that they kind of was tongue.
And this and this is kind of an offshoot. Toy wise, just really quickly, I have a whole container of like from the 1970s. It's called Body Parts, I think, and in it there's like little rubber eyeballs, little rubber fingers, a toe, and there's a heart, and there's like a tongue. And I have a box of them.
Nice.
Yeah, I should show this to you guys because that's really I love this. I remember seeing these as a kid, but
That's
it's like
great.
so it comes with like 6 or 7 tongues, and it's literally like a little rubber tongue. And you can put it in your mouth and go, ooh. So anyway,
that's great. Nice. All right, how about the rest of you guys?
I thought of A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Tongue coming out of the phone.
Yes.
Great choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's one that I didn't see coming.
Yeah. They should make that as a toy prop, or like actually make a phone like that.
On Pinterest, you can find some things like that.
right.
Where people
like customize.
Customize it.
Etsy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
I think you need to write a letter to Mezco or somebody.
I know. I mean,
Make
a
tongue
working
toys.
phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
that has a little motor in it,
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
It can be used for many things.
Yeah. I love it.
But watching that film for the first time, I remember that happens. And already a number of things had happened.
Yeah.
And then you get to that and you go, this is a classic.
It's inspired.
This one is gonna last.
Yeah.
Well, I went to once again Star Wars, Jabba the Hutt in Return of the Jedi.
Great.
He's salivating over Slave Leia, and this unconvincing appendage comes out of its mouth. I was like, they could have done better. And
at the time, though, I didn't buy it.
I thought it was a.
Yeah, I kind of bought it. I
thought it was good.
Too.
I didn't really buy it back then.
Really?
Honestly.
Yeah, you were
CGI. Like, what's the matter?
You were the little kid who went to see Star Wars in a 3-piece suit with their arms crossed.
This movie better impress me.
It's just a
that
piece of
didn't
rubber.
happen in space.
Wow, but yeah,
just saying.
Okay,
but yeah,
it had mucus and stuff on it. It wasn't like a dry tongue.
No, it wasn't dry. I'll give it that.
That was the one thing that, like, I remember we get to that Jabba scene where he's actually there,
right?
And I've already seen a few Muppets, and I'm worried. The first time I saw it, I was like, oh boy, this doesn't feel right. And then Jabba came on, and I was like, okay, maybe this is gonna work out.
Right, true.
And that scene is great.
Yeah.
And then, you get out on the barge and that's when it all fucking starts to go down.
Well, it's a good thing they did the tongue scene with that Jabba, not the original incarnation of Jabba that was just like just like a shirtless fat guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's a great choice.
Good choice.
Who's next?
I forget.
James.
Guillotine.
Oh,
that's good.
Guillotine. Got it.
Oh, okay.
All right, jump in.
What I think of is the model kit of the guillotine.
Yeah.
The Chamber of
that.
Horrors, that one.
Yeah.
I know the one.
And I'm trying to remember, that wasn't part of the monster scenes, right? That was a different one.
That's an Aurora. It was an Aurora monster kit. It was it was like a Chamber of Horrors or like a Madame Tussauds type thing.
Right.
And there was supposed to be, the funny thing is they start out with the guillotine. There are plans of doing others like the rack and the hanging tree.
Right.
They got a little.
Well, you got that in the monster scenes, though.
Yeah, that's why there was controversy in those, though, too.
Well, the monster scenes, they did. There was a different
cage.
Hanging cage.
Okay.
And the rack had like a skeleton. In the original idea, there was going to be a guy.
My!
But monster scenes also got in trouble because they were considered violent by parents.
Yes.
In fact, the female character, which is like a little short shorts and like a little blouse, she was originally called the victim.
That's right.
And they changed it to like, was it Dr. Deadly's daughter?
Yes.
So now she's the daughter. She's not a victim necessarily because you can't, so yeah. But I love those models.
Yeah, there was one that was the pain parlor.
Yeah.
And then you had this is like a wooden table and then some sort of strange equipment with a skeleton hanging.
Skull and the rats.
And that was one of those things where it's just like, I guess, use your imagination. What's going to happen here? Or
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
electrolysis. I don't know.
Yeah, I just, because it's a title that I always remember. It's a movie from 1960s called Two on a Guillotine. It's Connie Stevens and Cesar Romero's, and he's like a magician, and it's not the greatest movie, but it has a great title, Two on a Guillotine. So that's my choice for that one.
Nice.
Very good.
Well, okay, mine, it took a moment, but then it hit me when my wife and I went to England, and she wanted to go to all the cool places in England for tourism, and there was a place that I wanted to go that I had heard about called the London Dungeon.
Yes.
I went there too.
Me too.
And for listeners, if you haven't been there, it's like it's like a wax museum. They have all these neat, creepy things with stuff about England and France, and there's Jack the Ripper and stuff. But there's this thing in the center, and I was totally fooled by this. They had a giant guillotine, and there was a guy in it, okay? And some guy comes out and makes this announcement. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to show you how the real guillotine works. And he explains a little bit about the guillotine. And as he's explaining, the actual blade is going it's going up and up and up and up and up. And I said, oh my God, I got to get closer to see this. I got to get closer. And I'm like right up in front, okay? And it gets all the way up to the top. And then as the guy finishes his speech, the thing comes down, and right when it gets to the guy lying there, the lights turn out. And all of a sudden, I feel spritzed on me.
Oh,
like in front. I'm like, shit. And I'm like, I have a white shirt. And I go, great. They just spit blood at me. I'm like, oh, I was like, the lights come on. I look at my shirt. There's nothing. It was water. I was fooled.
Good.
It was like the experience was amazing. Now, there's a lot of grotesque stuff in there. They show, the bubonic plague and other stuff like that. But that experience with the guillotine, it was weird because on one hand, the horror guy in me, it's like, oh, this is really cool. But this was a real thing that was constructed and used.
Yeah, people would watch. It'd be like an event. People would come watch it.
Exactly. It's like, this is before, hey, we didn't have any movies to watch. So, hey, we have to go check out Guillotine,
I enjoyed the London Dungeon, but it seemed to me like the actors there, every single one of them wanted to do their one man, one woman show.
Right.
I mean, I had a good time, but like after about an hour and a half, It was like, all right, the horror now is how long I'm staying here.
I'll tell you where my mind went first originally was that when I was 8 years old in 1973, my mom let me stay up and watch Dan Curtis's version of Frankenstein, the TV movie with Robert Foxworth. And there's a scene in it, and at that age, I did not know what a guillotine was, but there's a scene where like a young woman who's like a nanny is accused of the murder of a child that was really the Frankenstein monster, but she's sentenced to death in the guillotine. And I was horrified. It's like, oh my God, I'd never seen anything like that. So yeah.
It's cool.
All right, who's next?
It's
I think it's me.
It's Matt's turn.
All right, Matt.
All right.
Shake it up, buddy.
Here's one you might have fun with. Head. Head.
Guillotine followed by head.
Nice.
Guillotine followed by head. Now, I think I know where James is going to go with this.
Yeah.
There's so many actually, but the first one that I know, there's a lot, but I always try to go with the first one that comes to mind. So
okay, so what is that, Sean?
I would have to say The Brain That Wouldn't Die.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, that's
classic. I have the distinctive dummies figure that comes with the little head and the pan.
Oh, that thing is so beautiful.
It's a classic, sleazy, ridiculous, awesome movie. Bloody as hell for the time.
Yeah.
Love the monster in the closet's great. I love the head. The actress who plays the head is great.
Yeah. And Jan in the Pan.
Yeah, it's great. I love that movie.
For listeners who it's like that sounds familiar. We've talked about this before. It's the famous iconic scene of a woman's head is in a pan and she's kind of bandaged.
Electrodes. Yeah,
she has, and in I think it's in trailers or something. She goes, "You in the closet."
Yeah,
you in the closet. And she
actually a mental link.
She actually developed because she's been dislocated from her body. Somehow she develops kind of more mental powers so she can psychically connect with the horrible mutated freak experiment in the closet. And it's great. It's a great movie.
It's terrifying, and you think it's a low budget film, but
it is.
What happens at the end is pretty graphic.
It's great fun.
It
really is. Great driving film.
And I'm so jealous that Sean has the figure because it's
I have it too, Larry.
You do too?
Yeah.
But see, I always thought, Larry, I'm you're opening up a little bit, Larry, because I always thought you never really went for the, distinctive dummies and Brent's dolls. We love them. I've tons of their stuff, but I always thought you thought they're not official factory made, licensed, like thousands made toys, so you don't really count them.
It's true.
But they go up in value.
No.
Way up.
Well, quickly. It's funny. Just, there is a figure that I paid a few bucks for, and I was disappointed because it was so fragile that parts of it broke. And I was disappointed. I thought that the material that was used, it was not a good decision. And so, but Sean, it's like, look, I am not the biggest fan of all of them, but there are some that I think are really neat and I appreciate. And that is one of them. I'm just saying that I appreciate what you guys have in your collections.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'm taking a big step, am I not?
Yes. James, give it to me.
Well, I go immediately to the Monkees feature film, which is called Hair.
Of course.
Where they play, I guess the high point of the film that explains the title is where they play dandruff and the hair of Victor Mature. The whole thing is some druggy
I do love
trip,
it.
and
I love the dolphin song too. It's a great song.
Yeah,
great song. Great song.
Great opening. It's great.
An underrated movie.
For sure.
Yeah, it's especially time has been kind to it.
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
And that's where I went. Like I said it, and then I thought
it. Right. Nice.
All right.
There you go.
Well, this has been fun, and listeners, you've been having a good time at home.
It's enlightening.
Yeah. I know even more about you now.
Yes, I know.
I'm scared.
You can learn a lot about a person by playing this game.
That's true.
But what do you say we do a lightning round, huh?
Lightning round.
Throw out two really quickly, okay?
Yeah.
How about that? Okay, so let me give out two. The first one is going to be sword.
Sword.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
All right.
Go.
Okay, I immediately thought of the really fun, entertaining '80s sword and sorcery film, The Sword and the Sorcerer.
I love that film
because it has that awesome sword that's like it shoots a mini sword from the sword. It's a projectile sword. That's a genius idea.
Yeah,
it is.
I'm surprised nobody else is trying to use that because that's I love that. So that's.
Did we all think of the same thing?
I thought of that. Yeah.
Really?
Wow. That's impressive.
Matt, what did you think?
Yeah, no, I thought of Sword and the Sorcerer too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm gonna. Okay, you guys gonna go crazy with the second one. Second word is candle.
Candle.
Candle. Ooh.
Got it. Ready?
Candle. Yep.
The Wicker Man.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah. Right. The hand candle.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Genius.
He like swipes it.
Yeah, the first time I saw that thing was in a horror movie book, a reference book.
Yes.
And I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And it was, and like all those kind of movies that you see in the books, it was years later.
Yeah, that you saw.
I finally saw The Wicker Man, and it's just such a creepy moment because it looks like it's a severed hand, but it's not. But
yeah,
I know it's cool.
It's never really explained why it's there.
I know, which makes.
But I know I want that hand, and
where's that?
I'm sure. If I looked it up on Etsy, somebody's
candle hand. Yeah.
Well, James, what did you think?
Frau Blucher in Young Frankenstein, where she's like, "Stay close to the candles. The staircase can be treacherous, and the candle isn't even lit."
Right. Well, that's funny. Okay, that's funny you say that, James, because I don't know why mine immediately went to this because I've watched this so many times. There is a Dark Shadows blooper where the two kid characters, the little girl's carrying a candelabra or maybe one candle, I can't remember, and the little boy is with them, and they're like sneaking around somewhere, and they go, "Oh wait, somebody's coming! Blow out the candle!" And the kid. He's blowing it, and he finally gets it. He almost starts to laugh because it was like done live. I always remembered that. It was just really funny. So that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's great.
It's funny you should say Young Frankenstein because my thing is put the candle back.
Right.
Candle back.
To me, I die laughing each time. Anyway, so there's my two. There you go. Sean, why don't you give us two?
Okay, here's one. Motorcycle.
Got it.
Okay, it was instant.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it to us.
Mine was Road Warrior.
Right.
The Wes, I guess it is the funky guy on his motorcycle. That's what I thought of instantly.
Okay.
Perfect.
James, how about you?
Psychomania.
Me too.
Me too.
Another three.
Immediately.
Yeah, me too. Immediately. Greatest movie ever made.
It is. Right.
Okay, I'll give you one more, okay?
Yes.
Finger.
Finger.
Oh, finger.
Finger.
Oh.
Sean, it took me a second, but then it hit me from The Shape of Water when the guy comes out and he has his fingers bit off and the cleaning ladies come and the finger, it's two fingers, but they're separate. And what's so gross is, I'm thinking, oh, they lost the fingers. Well, because it's the 50s, they try to reattach it and they don't really keep, and they start to smell pus and stuff. Fingers. I
like that one.
Okay. I've got mine.
Okay.
Phantasm.
That's mine. That's what mine was.
Great one.
Because it's another example where it's so weird and bizarre. Like why does the tall man's finger, which oozes yellow blood, turn into a freaking spider creature? It's so genius. It's like it doesn't make any sense, but it's great.
But it's the perfect kind of not making sense. It's
exactly.
Like,
it's a dream. It's like the movie dreamlike logic. This
is weird, and this is also weird.
Matt, wasn't it like as you started to watch it, you felt like you couldn't trust the film because you didn't know where it was going?
Right.
This, where did that come from? Whoa! What? It was like it was always kept me on my toes.
Yes.
Maybe in a way you could say, well, it's dated. It's not as fast. It's such a wonderful film. It's very creative. Science fiction, fantasy, horror, all mixed together.
And the fingers, when the fingers come off and you see the yellow custard coming out, the last thing I was expecting.
Right.
Yet again. And that really added the alien element to it.
Yes, exactly. Yep. I'll have to throw honorable mention, though. I would say maybe a second one would be Harvey Lembeck as Eric Von Zipper in the Beach movies from the 60s with Annette Funicello and Frankie Avalon, because he plays that character. He's like the bumbling motorcycle guy. And he always going, I'm going to give him the finger, which means just for some reason putting the finger to his temple, which puts him in a trance. Doesn't make any sense. But he's in like all the movies playing that character.
Sure.
Doesn't make any sense. But
again, like Phantasm, it doesn't have to.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's like Walter Matthau and the Sunshine Boys. The finger. He's giving me the finger.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that what you thought of?
Yeah,
well,
Sunshine Boys. That's classic science fiction.
Oh no, I mean, as far as genre goes, I went to Nosferatu because there's a classic shot where he's pointing his hand and he's got this long elongated claw finger.
Yeah.
And that one image always just sort of stuck in my head.
Like it.
So
Cool.
There you go.
So there you go.
Nice one. Well,
Very
James,
good.
why don't you give us a quick 2?
Rainbow.
Okay.
Okay. Asgard.
Oh,
There you go.
Any-
no, that's good.
Good.
The Rainbow
Nice.
Bridge
Nice.
and any
Uh-huh.
Thor movie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
Well, I was going to say, don't jump at me here, even though it's a musical, but there's fantasy elements. The Wizard of Oz.
Sure.
Mhm.
That's a
We
classic.
have a beautiful Somewhere Over the Rainbow song.
Right.
But another one that came up, which is to me kind of fantasy, it's Kermit the Frog's Rainbow Connection from the first Muppet movie. I'm sorry, I love that scene because he's in a real swamp. Thank you.
It's not the movie. It's just that song. I know it's
That was
Paul
an
Williams.
Academy Award nominated song.
I-
Paul Williams wrote that.
I know.
Aren't you
I know.
a fan of Paul Williams?
I am,
Aren't
and I
you
can't
guys like
stand
this or
it.
something?
I can't stand it.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
And
will say
maybe
that-
maybe I heard it too many times. I don't know, but it's just one that I
It's
know
like,
it's a sweet song.
what's wrong with you?
Well, here's the
you
thing.
don't like joy,
I don't
happiness.
look. This is one of those things that fits into a category of, it's not that it's a bad song, it's that I don't really like it. Obviously, it is a good song. It's
Okay.
a well-written song,
Okay.
and I understand people love it. It just, when I hear it, it makes me sad.
It's okay. It's like you may not like strawberry ice cream, although it's like
Right.
the third most popular ice cream in the world. It's like that's fine with everybody. It's strawberry ice cream is great, but it's not your thing.
That's exactly
Sure.
It's like Steely Dan. Steely Dan. Come on. Of course they're talented. But
I love Steely Dan.
of course you do, Sean. But I can't do it. I can't do it.
Okay. No, I understand. I mean,
All right,
it's to the
okay,
core.
all right.
Yeah.
But I will say that the other songs on that soundtrack, for me, age better than that song did. It was a little overplayed, but I enjoyed the other songs more now.
So you agree
For
that it
whatever
was
that's worth.
overplayed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Sean, did you
now
have
we're getting
something for
somewhere.
Rainbow?
Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting, Larry, that you said Wizard of Oz, but for some reason, I don't know why, I went to Under the Rainbow.
Oh,
I really did. With Chevy Chase
Chevy
and
Chase, right.
and
Carrie
the really
Fisher.
really
Carrie
hot
Fisher.
Carrie Fisher.
Is
in
that any
movie,
good?
By the way, no, it's
Okay.
terrible.
I
But
didn't think so, but
it's a fascinating failure, though. It's a fascinating
right.
failure. It's kind of
now I have
it's-
to watch it.
Yeah, you
Thanks
have to
a
kind of
lot.
see it. Which is
Nobody-
based. It's the mythical kind of like story of the supposedly the Munchkin actors destroyed a hotel when they were making the Wizard of Oz, and it's ridiculous. And Billy Barty's in it, though; he's great, and it's
Always good.
but it's a terrible movie. It's terrible.
Nobody went to Barugon from Gamera versus Barugon.
Oh yeah, good one. That's
Nicely
good.
done,
Yeah,
James.
I like that. What
Nicely
a
done.
weird power for a monster to have too. Like it's basically a death rainbow.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like who thought of that?
Coming out of his tongue. Right.
Yeah.
I watched
No,
that
no,
again.
it shoots
not-
from his it's like from his fins. It comes out of his
Yeah.
fins.
I
Yeah.
watched that again not too long ago, and it is way better than I remembered it.
It's the
To be-
only Gamera film that is not aimed towards kids,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
which is weird because the first one was, and then
Yeah.
all the other ones were totally kid. But that
Right.
it is a weird movie. It is weird.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of like despicable characters, and it's just bizarre.
You know, there are times when you think, why is James here? And then he pulls out something like this.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that made up for Mike Brady.
But James, Rainbow's great. Do you have a second word for us?
Buried.
Oh, I know what. I know. Yeah.
Go.
Still a scary movie, and man, this movie scared the fuck out of me when I was a little kid. TV movie from the 70s called The Screaming Woman.
Right. Yeah.
Olivia de Havilland is like getting over a nervous breakdown, and she thinks she hears someone screaming and crying under the ground. And you find out that her neighbor buried his wife alive, thought she was dead, and she's still under there crawling and scratching at her grave. Ooh. It's great. It is great. The Screaming Woman, TV movie, early 70s. Check it out.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
I was thinking of The Vanishing. And
good one.
And there's this couple, and I'm thinking about the original one. I forget the year, but it's a French film. I forget exactly, but it's a foreign film where this couple, they go to this gas station and the girlfriend vanishes without a trace. And this boyfriend tries for years to try to find what happened to her. And what we eventually learn is there's this guy who had kidnapped her and puts her in a coffin, basically buries her alive, just to see if he can get away with it, to do it. It's a really horrifying, scary film. And I remember my wife and I watched it together, and I said, and honey, this is why you shouldn't be so friendly to people at gas stations. You know, it's a really interesting where the film goes. If you haven't seen it, there is an American version, which is not that good.
Don't do it.
You want to see the foreign version.
Yes.
The Vanishing.
Okay.
Go on.
I went to the 1981 film Dead and Buried.
Oh, yeah.
Which it's a film that featured a script by Dan O'Bannon.
That's right.
And it's all about this small town where there are tourists that come and they get killed, and then they kind of come back, but you don't really know what's going on, if there's zombies or it's a very strange mystery. And it would take too long to explain, but it's fun. The ending is a nice little surprise. I know Sean likes this movie, and I'm sure you would recommend it as well.
Yeah, it's cool. Good gruesome effects, too.
Yes, yeah. Melody Anderson, Jack Albertson in his final role, James Ferrantino. Good stuff.
Wow.
Nice. Well, that was a good one. That was a really good one. So, Matt, why don't you bring us on? Why don't you throw two at us?
Okay, here you go. The word is smelly.
Oh, no.
Smelly.
Wow.
Okay.
Pencils down.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
First thing that comes to mind, and I'm sorry, I guess maybe it's the way you said it, from Star Wars, they're thrown into the garbage chute, and Han Solo goes, "What an amazing smell you discovered."
Yeah.
When he said that line, I remember being a kid, for some reason, I felt like I was smelling it too. Little did I know that my brothers had taken their shoes off or something, and I was smelling their stinky socks. But yeah.
I wonder if that was like an improvised line by
It feels like it, doesn't it?
It feels like it, but who knows?
Whatever. That's
great.
When you said the word, it took a second, and then it just snapped right in. So
I gotta jump on that too, because Empire Strikes Back with the Tauntaun, right?
That's where I went.
Yeah,
that's where I went.
It opened. I thought they smelled bad on the outside. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Love it. I went to John Waters. I immediately thought of polyester. His film Polyester, filmed in Odorama.
Odorama.
Yes.
That was Scratch and Sniff, right?
Right.
Scratch and Sniff. And I think every once in a while on eBay, those cards come up.
Really? Oh, wow. Yeah. That's cool.
Which I would love to have.
For sure.
But smelly.
Nice.
There you go.
Would you actually scratch the card and smell it though, Matt? After all these years, would you?
I don't know about after all. I'd have to see the movie and then do it that way.
You have to do it while you're, You have to do exactly.
Then I would because the smells, if I remember correctly, were horrible smells.
Yeah. Most, I think there's some nice ones, and then it was, Yeah,
But
All right, Matt, give us one more.
Okay,
Bring
here
us
you
home.
go. Here's the last one.
All right.
Have fun with nipples. Nipples.
Oh
man.
God.
Do what you will
Man.
with nipples.
All
I
right.
know where my mind went, and it's not what you think.
Well, when Mike Brady. No. Okay, I'll give you mine. It's not genre. It's not genre, but for
Okay,
some reason,
what? Why?
no, because it's gory.
We're ending with this?
Because you guys are going to follow me. But Return of a Man Called Horse with Richard Harris.
Oh, okay. No, I
Okay,
see where you're
alright.
going.
When I was
I get
11
it.
years old, and there is a ritual in that film, in a Native American ritual,
Yeah.
rite of passage for men, where you mutilate your nipples and then you hang from these ropes.
Yeah.
And it's this sadomasochistic. It feels like forever in this movie, especially when I'm 11 staring at this. It's like, why am I looking at this? This is horrible.
Right.
But that's where my mind went when Matt said nipples. So there you go.
Okay, I get it.
All right. Next.
There's so many things I could go to. What came to me first is because it was like something I saw younger and it just stuck with me. And that was the film The Deep with Jacqueline Bisset. Because it's kind of the movie is like a PG movie, I think, but it was, she was getting out of the water and she just had a white t-shirt on and no bra. And it was just, okay, hi. It gets your attention. I mean, it's the only memorable scene in the movie. Pretty much.
Back in the days when we first started going to conventions, at least in my case, I would buy 8x10s, various things, Star Trek or Logan's Run. But there was always some female shots that they called to me.
Right.
And I had that Jacqueline Bisset.
Really?
10, yes.
Really?
Yeah. Because,
come on.
And it gave me comfort over the years.
Yeah, sure. Come on. It was impressive.
Yeah.
For me, it took a second and then it just kind of popped in my head. And it's one of those things where you think you see something, but you're not exactly sure when you're a young boy and you're watching,
I like where this is
an
going.
old film on Channel 44. So just to give everyone some history, the film Tarzan and His Mate from 1934.
Oh, yeah.
This is pre-Hays Code.
Yes.
And what that means is the movie studios at the time would put a little sex appeal in these films, whether it be what people said or what was happening or something.
Right.
Once the Hays Code came in, because people felt, the films are getting too racy, things change. But for that film, for Tarzan and His Mate, where this is with Johnny Weissmuller, who is the famous Tarzan that everyone is kind of familiar with, who has the great yell, and Maureen O'Sullivan as Jane. There's a sequence where she is up on a tree limb and she's trying to control him, and he's like a brute guy, and he takes her and throws her off the branch into the water, and her dress comes off. And when she's swimming in the water, where they have this beautiful underwater footage, she's not wearing anything. There's she's not. And you're looking at it, and as a kid, when they're thinking, it's like black and white Tarzan film. Well, this was a part that they forgot to trim. But I'm watching this again. I'm like, is she?
Yeah.
And then
See, kids,
some shots,
kids,
and you're
that's why you should watch black and white movies.
I'm just saying, not exactly sure if I saw a nipple there, but it's like there was enough to suggest that there was. It was that moment where something inside me goes, ooh, and I didn't know, it's like, you're becoming a man now. I don't know, but it's like, and just to let you know, yes, it's not exactly PC, but at the time, it's still like, he's a brute guy and he really likes her and she does like him, but she's got that Western thing. If she could just be more like an ape, it wouldn't be so bad. But, and then she has to get out of the water and she has to find something to wear, and she's running the bushes. And,
but even like that, not counting that scene, Larry, her outfit in that film, and I think in a couple of the films, like it's so sheer and it's barely staying on. Like when I watch it, I'm like, wait, like that thing's gonna fall off any second, and you keep swearing. Wait a minute, like the side of her, you can see all of her bare. Like it's crazy. It's like
there's that kind of Princess Leia thing.
Yeah, it's almost like it's also a little bit like Jenny Agutt's outfit in Logan's Run. That sheer dread where you can see it's like it's like whoa.
She shows up at Logan's apartment.
Yeah, this is in the 30s, you know?
Yeah, 34. And the thing that's beautiful about Marina Sullivan is she was shaped like a beautiful lady. And because there were some women of the time, movie stars, who were maybe not so well endowed, but she looks more like what you think a woman would look like. And it was just, that's so with your word, Matt, it took a moment, but that's because I'm not exactly sure if I saw it. It was suggested, but
it absolutely works.
But what a way to end this episode.
Well, and before we do, I have to tell you what I was thinking.
Yes.
I was, of course, thinking of the Batman sequel, Batman and Robin. Yes, that's right, 1997. And
God, that movie is
terrible, horrible movie. And,
it really is. Like in every way, you can't even enjoy it like in a so bad it's good way. It's an abomination.
It is.
It
really is.
It's really a
there
shame.
There are nipples on the costumes.
Yeah, they make a joke about it. I think like what's her face? The Poison Ivy, doesn't she say something like, I love I love costumes that are anatomically correct or something, she says like that. It's like, it's just horrible.
Yeah, I don't know who the audience for that film was supposed to be.
No.
I kind of, you know what, I kind of think it was like Warner Brothers at that time, it's like Batman had done really well. And it's like they didn't care. I don't think anyone really cared. They weren't really keeping track of it. It's like, it's like we're having these stars in it. It's going to be big. It's going to be big.
Yeah. It's just, like, talking about a franchise out of control.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Schumacher.
Yeah. I don't want to say that Schumacher. Yeah, it is his fault. It is.
But I can see I know what you mean, though, Larry. It's also the franchise's fault. To be honest, the franchise is not much better shape now.
You're right.
Than it was back then.
I would, in fairness,
it's different
Sean,
kind of.
I did enjoy the last Batman. I thought that was better. Than,
in general,
that's a better
all the DC films.
That's a better movie than Batman and Robin.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. We can all agree.
But still, Matt, that is a great way to end this.
It's always to end anything.
End with nipples.
End with nipples if you can, if it's possible.
You can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong with nipples. That should be the tagline of our show.
Let's just do a whole episode.
Nipples.
I don't know about that.
A nipples episode.
Horror and sci-fi nipples.
You're a genius.
Well, but
if we did that, it would have to be a two-parter.
And he's back.
Well, look, for listeners at home, I hope you enjoyed playing along. I hope you did.
I did.
We'd love to know what
that was fun.
Your choices were.
Yes. Tell us what you thought of when you heard these words. We'd like to know.
Yeah.
So, hey, why don't we take this opportunity to raise our glasses
to nipples
and toast to nipples? It's the only thing we can toast to. You know what? Fuck our show and the game. You know how to play the game. If you want to play it, you'll do it at home. But we are going to toast to nipples
and the word association game. Let's do this
nipples.
Again.
Ooh.
Time for listener shout out.
Shout out. What do you
Word
think?
association. Shout.
The shout.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Out. This goes out to our longtime listener, Picasso the Mundane.
Yes.
Picasso.
Love him.
Who has, after our last episode, our Cult Movies episode, he wrote a very nice Instagram message. He says, every one of the movies mentioned in this episode are far more interesting than the first Avatar movie. It took 3 attempts at viewing it because I fell asleep 3 times. I say this as a quote unquote average Joe.
A real one.
Yeah.
Larry, I'm a facilities maintenance man. I plunge toilets and change light bulbs and fix air conditioners for a living. Larry, I love you. We share a great love for the Gill Man, and you are a nerd par excellence that I love listening to about movies and toys. But you, sir, are not an average Joe.
Wait, oh, come on.
I've been saying it forever.
Oh no, I'm just like you. I'm a Joe.
He says,
and where the hell do you get off falling asleep 3 times during Avatar? Really? Did you work a long day?
Yes, you did, Larry.
Yes, but you go on the weekend. Take a Diet Coke with you. You know,
maybe he wants to go on a date, or I don't know if he's married, or but
he says, I'm sorry if this stings, but sometimes we hurt the ones we love the most.
Oh, see?
Wait a minute. He loves you the most?
Well, at least so. Oh, yeah. It kind of stings there, Mr. Weinhold, doesn't it?
It does sting. I'll take it.
If I get more emails and letters, what
letter?
What could I
letters? You can't just say that. I want to see these fucking letters. I don't believe this. No.
Well, thank you for your comments. I appreciate it.
It's lovely.
But I'd say amongst these other gentlemen here, I perhaps am the more regular Joe. And
I don't know if I would call it regular Joe.
Yeah,
I would call it one of the masses, maybe, or a non-thinking movie goer.
Maybe Mr. Mainstream.
Mainstream. There
I
you
like
go.
that, Mr. Mainstream.
And
I like that.
There's nothing wrong with being Mr. Mainstream, and you don't chastise me. It's like, oh, he doesn't like to think when he goes. You want to go to a film and you want to escape. You want to go to a new planet.
Escape thinking.
No, I'm just saying, sometimes you just want to get away from it all and you go to a different planet
But can it be good?
Life.
How about if it's a good planet? How about it's a well thought out planet? Why does it have to be the shitty planet that I always go to?
Well, this is great. James, is there any other shout outs you want to give?
Could we ask for Picasso to write some more?
Yes. Yeah. Send telegrams.
Yes, please. He's waiting by his mailbox.
Right.
And remember, the post office will not deliver mail without a postage stamp. So.
Thank you, James. Hey, and guys, remember, we have been nominated for a Rondo Award.
That's right.
Yes, that's right.
The coveted Rondo Hatton Award.
That's right.
Yes.
Its full name is the Rondo Hatton Classic Horror Awards.
That's right.
We would be getting one of those awards if we won. Now, this is the second year that we have been nominated, and that in and of itself is an honor. Like,
it
so
is.
cool
It really
that we're now on their radar. So we need you to vote for us. And so please go to rondoaward.com. That's RONDOAWARD.com and vote. When you go there, there'll be all kinds of information about where to click or what to do to vote for us. And there's a lot of nominations, but you feel free to vote for as many or as few as you wish. But just keep in mind, too, that we have a lot of our friends who have also been nominated, and they're great, too. So when you look at...
it's hard, but...
It's a lot. There are a lot of nominations, but look them all over because you'll see names that you recognize, and it might make you want to then go out and see whatever film they produced or article that they wrote.
Whatever it is.
And if you enjoyed it, then vote for them, too. But we're very excited about this, and it would be fantastic if we got a Rondo. So we're
for sure.
We're counting on you to make this dream happen.
I don't know about you guys, but it would really be something special for me. So
Yes,
For you.
I know.
if you really care about my feelings, by all means.
If you care about that regular Joe's feelings, make
the
that
way,
regular Joe into a extra special regular Joe.
Something I should point out too is that Larry has been also nominated for the Regular Joe Awards.
There's not many people in the category,
and it's strange because you're up against other regular Joes.
Yes, how do you choose?
It's very hard to stand out.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
But
of course, as the listeners go, Matt's making a joke because there is no.
You mean there is not a regular Joe category?
Well, again,
No.
I am truly fascinated by this aspect of your personality.
You're
The
so
thing that
worried.
can't just let a joke run.
Like the podcast police are going to come after us.
You can't. Do you think? What if someone actually looked for the Regular Joe Award?
I would feel terrible.
Why?
I would feel terrible. I would because like you're being misleading.
And then they go, "Oh, they were joking."
Oh, but I don't want people to get upset because I know if that were me, I'd be all, those guys.
Are
they
you
told me that there was
gullible?
a regular. Well, I don't. Well, I don't know.
Do you understand that, like, the tone of voice when someone's saying something is kind of a wink and a nod to let you know that it's a joke?
Nudge.
And that's something that you don't. You in your life, you don't get. It doesn't. Alert you.
The point here that you're trying to make is, hey, listeners, go check out the Rondo.
That wasn't the point that I was making right here.
No. We're trying to.
The point that I was making is, why do you do this?
We're just saying that we would love and appreciate your vote for best podcast.
Yes.
Monster Party podcast.
Of course.
And maybe, hey, you know what? Maybe next year we'll be nominated in another category because of all the DVD commentaries that we've been doing.
That's true.
Indeed.
Who knows? Could happen.
It's been getting
Crazier
some good
things
reviews.
have happened. Yes.
Yeah.
Good reviews.
And guys, I'd like to give a shout out to a former guest, Rich Carell, who was on the premiere episode of Collector's Call, I might add, with his Icons of Darkness, and with another former guest, Joe Mo, I might add.
There you go.
And,
lovely people.
And look, the Collector's Call, as we know, I did my Creature collection. I was on. Lisa Wenchel was lovely. She was wonderful.
The greatest.
She's just terrific. They showcased Rich's collection, and I think there's another cool collection coming up eventually.
That's right. Yeah. So, I mean, I was Larry's wingman when he did his show. He's going to be my wingman when I do my episode of Collector's Call.
Wow.
So it's coming. I don't want to give too much information out, but this one's got everything. It's got action. It's got conflict, of course.
Romance.
And yet, some very sweet moments. And it checks all the boxes.
Nice.
But just be aware of it. We'll mention it, but please be aware. This is coming.
That's
awesome.
True.
Can't wait.
Well, if you want to stand out from the regular Joes, the best way to do that is by wearing Monster Party merch. The Monster Party cap, the Monster Party t-shirt, the Monster Party PPE mask, and holding up the Monster Party shot glass. And all these beautiful items can be found on our eBay store, which is Monster Party Store. And if you purchase one of these beautiful eBay items and you also happen to be a Patreon member, we will throw in free surprise goodies with your package, courtesy of Jason Lindsay and Biff Bang Pow Toys.
Yes.
And who knows, we might throw in some other goodies, some things that I have lying around. I have just a drawer of treasures, and you never know when you're going to get something from that drawer.
That's right.
Wow. True surprises. Well, I don't know, word association. I mean, someone says Patreon and I draw a blank. What is this Patreon all about?
That was just handled so well, what you did just now. But yes, when I think of Patreon, I think of quality. That's where my mind goes. Quality. And that's what Monster Party provides you. If you join Patreon, you will get access to all this bonus material that Monster Party has produced. We're talking bonus audio episodes. We're talking about our shows that we do, like Larry's Toy Time, James's Toy Time, Sean's Toy Time. I'm going to do a Toy Time eventually, and it's going to be great. And we also have these story collections that my stepfather-in-law, John Bordeaux, has put together of vintage horror and science fiction. You can get access to that. We have this mega volumed video tour of Japan that James did some amazing editing on. And I'm telling you, if you watch these things, you'll feel like you're there. So all these great reasons to join Patreon.
Well, it sounds wonderful, and it sounds like very luxurious. And I'm also just I'm a
not for a regular Joe. It's too luxurious.
I'm a regular Joe, and how can a regular Joe afford this?
A regular Joe, I don't know what your average salary is for a regular Joe, but if you have just $5 lying around, the doors will open to the world of Patreon. $5 a month.
That's amazing. I mean, you cannot get a pair of good quality nipple clamps for that price. I mean, come on.
That's where you're wrong. because I make them. Ooh. So, just cut out the middleman.
Well, that's a deal. That is a deal. So how does one join?
So all you have to do is you go to patreon.com, you go to Monster Party, you click on the join button, follow the instructions, and next thing you know, man, those nipples are going to be happier than ever.
Well, I can't wait. And let's remind our listeners that we are on social media, on Facebook at Monster Party TV. YouTube is also Monster Party TV. Instagram at Monster Party HQ. Twitter also at Monster Party HQ. And hey, would love to hear from you. Just like Picasso the Mundane sent us a message. We would love to hear your thoughts and hear your messages. And we will read them on the air. So please take a moment and write to us because we would love to hear your thoughts.
Even if they're a regular Joe.
Yes, right. And don't feel like you have to write a long review. Just try one word and then we'll extrapolate from that.
Right.
Yes.
On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry STROTHE.
And I'm James GONIS.
Keep America strong!
And play your own word association game.
Ah, nipples. Okay, now wait a minute. So you don't pay for sex, or you do pay for sex?
Wait, no. We weren't talking about
before I
sex.
pushed record. You said you paid for sex.
I did not. No, it's
but you won't pay
GONIS.
more than $6. Which
James GONIS.
I guess you stopped paying for sex in like the, mid 70s.
Hey, I don't know about you, but I've been nominated for. Well, we've been nominated for a Rondo. I've got people coming up to us all the time.
This can't be real, Larry. This whole shtick of you. Like, I've been nominated. Well, I mean,
technically, I am one of the 4 members of Monster Party. So yes, I was nominated.
Yeah.
Am I right? James?
I like to think of you as
nominated.
I like to think of you as the Stu Sutcliffe of the gang.
I like to think
we're back to this.
Because I think of myself as the regular Joe.
Okay, stop. You know what? Just stop. Stop. You know what? Look, Larry. I understand that every 3 months you have to test a new catchphrase. I get it. I know. Next month it'll be, boy howdy, or where's the beat? So hi, Shawn. If you're just tuning in,
where's the beat?
Just tuning in.
We want to know.
Larry pays for sex, and every 6 months or 3 months, he has to test a new catchphrase. And so he's been doing the whole regular Joe.
This
Right?
is how rumors get
but
started. This is how see
which
now
was
what's going to
another
happen.
catchphrase.
I can see it now. Well, because it's true. Because now, hi, I'm Larry with Monster Party here at Monster Palooza. People go, so you
What's
pay
your
for
catchphrase?
sex? No.
Do you do the Mr. Microphone catch-up phrase like, "Hey, good looking, I'll be back to pick you up later"?
No,
Did
no, Sean.
anyone ever
That's
have that?
your catchphrase.
I never own
I'd love
that.
to put you in the front. Go, hey, it's Shawn Sheridan.
Hey, good looking.
Hey, good looking. Hey,
I'll be
baby.
back to pick. Why is he picking up that right there and then? Where's he going?
It is helpful for hookers if we're talking about paying for sex.
Okay,
then you can actually, go, hey, because sometimes they can't hear you.
Look,
like, hello, hey, good looking.
Tonight's a family
How much
show
for the next half hour? Who says it's family?
Let's just
Why have you decreed that suddenly that it's a family show?
The Manson
listen,
family.
Lawrence Welk. Why don't you and your regular Joe go back and operate the bubble machine?
Now, see, that's the funny thing. You poke fun at that bubble machine. I had to tell you, was there not a bubble machine?
The bubble machine from Robot Monster?
Yes, Robot Monster.
Classic.
Bubble machines are kind of, they're kind of neat, kind of fun, sexy, and futuristic.
Well, I'm not,
back in the 50s, maybe.
I would love to yes and you on a lot lot
so bubbles aren't cool anymore.
No.
Bubbles are. Hey,
I don't know about sexy.
Hey, have you seen? There's the new toys from not Mezco.
Bubble Co.
No,
Bubbletron.
Super 7, a whole set of black and white like Soakies, but they're not Soakies. They're bubble blower things. Frankenstein,
that's nice.
Wolfman. Yes,
I wouldn't call it sexy, but it's cool. I like it.
But hey,
I don't see you like
machines?
at the Black Angus, cruising the bar with your, creature bubble blower.
No, because I wouldn't open it up. Are you kidding? I would not open mine up.
Word association, sexy. First thing comes to mind.
Listen. I'm just saying that the creatures that I've ordered will stay in their plastic wrap, so the bubbles.
Boy, that's going to be
always
fun.
Be
so how are you going to do your bubbles with them in the plastic?
Can you imagine, Matt? In 100 years,
you're going to be dead. Your kids won't want any of this shit, Larry.
No. Yes, they will.
Want your shit.
They're going to say, "Hey, here was the creature bubble thing that belonged to the Larry Strothe collection."
Yeah. Really? When is that biography?
In 100 years. Yeah. In 100 years.
Lisa Whelchell's great-granddaughter is going to be
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad because, Lisa Whelchell, she's going to come back to Larry Strothe and say, I got to have you back on Collector's Call because you were so dynamic and exciting. What new creature stuff do you have? Well,
bubbly. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what she's saying. But
that is the funniest thing, though. That's a new one for me.
What, bubbly?
You're gonna keep the bubble blower in the package.
You can't even enjoy and have fun with the bubble blowing.
You can't even enjoy it for what it is.
You'll never experience it.
Well, wait a minute. Am I the only one that has a Princess Leia soap dispenser with the soap still in it, or shampoo? Did none of you guys have that?
I never had
You're correct. You're the only one on the planet who has that.
Unless it somehow applies the soap to me, then no, I'm not interested.
No, but it is her in her white outfit with the two buns on her head.
Great. That's good. That's sexy. In 100 years, boy, that's going to be a real conversation starter. You know that in the Larry Strothe Museum, in the basement of this crack house,
you can smell it's going to be in a museum, not a crack house.
It could be a crack house museum. All the different crack houses
will have
been
history. Accepted and it's safe.
Legalized.
Yeah, it'll be fine. So it'll be like, oh, would you like some crack with your Larry Strothe Museum?
And this all started because of James's creature sitting behind him. That's how it all started.
Oh, really?
Thanks,
all right.
James.
So I got to go get a bubble machine. So I have to grab something and I'll be right back.
Have you ever operated a bubble machine? Have you?
The one-on-one ones with where you blow
no.
The whole thing, yeah.
No, a big professional one. I've actually had those on set.
Wow.
And they're
great,
really, very. And there's two different kinds. There's like it blows little bubbles, and then there's one that does big bubbles.
Wow. All right.
It makes this sound.
Hear a new catchphrase coming on. I'm
Living
Bubble
with
Joe.
bubbles.
Bubble Joe.
Bubbles away.
Bubble Joe.
Hey, am I bubbling you?
If you're just
Bubble
tuning in,
trouble.
if you just tuned in, this all started with James' creature behind him, which is a cheaper.
What is that creature?
It's a creature.
What is it?
It's
from Hamilton. It's from Hamilton. It's from
pretty
1991.
It
is.
Yeah.
But
is it a bendy rubber?
It is not.
No.
It's plastic.
Oh.
His arms can go up and down.
Oh.
James just
Just
dropped
a
it.
I've never seen that though.
You've never seen it?
I like the size of it.
Didn't you?
It's just
Didn't
bigger
you
than
watch?
usual.
Didn't you watch Collector's Call when I was on and I showed
Yes,
my
I just
creature
don't
collection?
remember that
Because
every
it's-
single creature toy. That's cool.
Well, okay, that's fair. That's fair because
That is cool,
it's
though. I
one
like
of
that.
hundreds.
Hey, so Larry, you've seen like the couple of new creature figures that have come out, right?
Yeah.
They're pretty cool, right?
They're very detailed. They look terrific.
Yeah, they're pretty
and
good.
It's funny because it's like it follows. There's been like 3 creature toys that have come out within like less
It's
than
kind
a
of
year.
interesting. Just I know it's kind of interesting little mini renaissance of
It is.
figures.
It is. I am curious. It's funny for you and I at our age. We're probably picking those up, but I mean, I don't know if those.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, yes. No. But there's another one, James. There's a new one.
Well, you're talking about the NECA, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
NECA. Yeah.
I'm curious. Is it just like the collector's market that they're shooting at, and maybe they're only doing like 10,000 or something like this, or are kids picking these up?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Probably more collectors our age, I'm guessing. I mean, I don't know.
You know what gets me, Sean, is why don't they? So it's great that they make the articulated creature. So where's the articulated Julie Adams? Where's the articulated?
Is it a rights? Yeah, is it a rights thing? Maybe.
I think
for
that
her
would be
presence?
easy to do.
Yeah.
That's also.
That's
from
that's
91.
cool.
That's the jig.
I like
That's
that.
the jiggler.
Yeah, I like that.
No, this started because Matt and Larry noticed the big creature behind me, and I said, "Yeah, it's the kind of thing. I think I picked it up for $5." And then Larry said, "I paid more," and Matt said, "What, 6?" and Larry misheard him, and he said, "No, I never paid for sex." So that's how this whole thing started. So I just
Gotcha.
have to, if you're just tuning in.
It all makes sense now.
And also,
Yeah.
Sean, it's like an ongoing thing. Like I spend, this item is I gotta pay like $100 for it, and James finds for $5 somewhere.
Yeah, right,
That's like the
right.
story
Yard
of my
sale,
life.
Goodwill.
Yeah, but
That's
it's like,
sometimes you can get good deals like that.
sometimes you can, but if it's missing a piece, man,
Yeah.
it just drives me nuts. I'm like letting my hair down a little bit because I'm actually looking at things without a box.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, or without
Like-
a piece.
Like loose figures.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I am.
Like
And-
which
What kind of
figure?
loose figures are we talking about? Like
Well,
loose?
I'm not gonna go into detail for you guys.
Well,
The next thing I
thanks.
realize is I'm on eBay and I find this little thing, and it's like, Sean's there. Aha! Here's something that Larry wants. I want to get it. And
We should
Because
maybe.
that's so like Sean.
That's why I'm constantly trolling eBay, waiting
That's
for
what he is. Yeah,
Larry
that's what
to-
he does. He gets up at
Have
like
I ever done
4
that?
or 5 in the morning to just kind of wait, just to see if you'll
Yeah.
be on there. Boy, this feels like a Larry thing.
We should do some other kind of. It's been a while though since we did like a toy themed episode again.
Oh,
Yeah.
great! Now we're changing the whole fucking thing. Great, John.
No, we should
All
do
right.
that. We should think
Matt
of
wants to
another
talk about-
toy thing at some point.
Yeah,
But Matt wants to
something.
talk
No, I
about
would like
paying
to
for
do that.
sex. No, that's what Matt wants
Yeah.
to talk about. Paying
would
for
like to-
sex. No, but Sean,
No,
I
I don't-
want
I
to
don't
hear your
pay for it
toy
either.
comment. No. I want to hear Sean's comment. Let's let Sean talk for a second.
What? No, I was just saying that we should think up for a future episode something related to toy collecting again, because we haven't done like a toy centric
I agree.
episode in a
I would
while,
like to
right?
do that.
Nostalgic.
Yeah.
Didn't
I
we-
mean, we'll have to think up the angle, but like,
Weren't we
something.
talking something about like gimmicks or something? Did we ever do that?
Or like gimmick toys? Maybe
Well,
not.
Toys that have like a thing like for example, the $6 Million Man, of course, Larry hates it, but it has like the eye or whatever. That's its gimmick.
Right.
Or, or
Kung
Big
Fu
Jim
grip.
has the Kung Fu grip. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. There is the newest, there's a later season of that show, The Toys That Made America. And they do like different types. They did one on gross out toys, which is pretty good.
Oh, that's good.
It was like the green slime, the mad balls.
Yeah, right.
And it was pretty cool. But something like that, some kind of, I mean, not necessarily toys that we owned or had, but just we could talk about that stuff,
I think we should do an episode called Items That You Had on eBay Until the Last Second.
See, but you have a lot more of story. I don't really have many stories of that. I don't.
Because
I don't harbor that. I don't remember all that.
No, I know you remember every single person that you were outbidded by. I don't remember that.
For listeners, I don't know.
And their addresses.
Years ago, no, just really quickly, years and years ago, I was going to see Sean just bear with me. I was going to see Sean at his place, and he lived in Westwood. Yeah. And I was racing over there because I had bid on an item on eBay. And I called Sean and said, "Hey, Sean, I'll be there just a little bit. Can I jump on your computer really quickly? Because I'm winning something." And Sean goes, "Hey, sure." So I race over there. I get over there, and I get into his place, and Sean's like, "Oh, what is it?" I go, "Oh, hey, just talk." And I get out of the computer, and I get to eBay, and it's like, there it is. There's this item that was mine. It was mine. My bid was there. It was a good bid, a solid bid. And then, of course, it ticks down, tick, 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 tick. And then right at like 10 seconds, it just skyrocketed. I went, ah! Like this.
I've never heard of this happening before.
I don't remember this.
You don't remember this?
No. So you went. It was at our condo, and you.
Yeah. It was the poster from.
This is what 20 years ago.
It was 20 years ago. Yeah. Don't you remember that?
I don't remember what happened 20 hours ago. So no, I don't remember.
I lost the poster, and I'm
never had it.
No, no. See, Matt, it was mine. There was a moment it was mine. I had bid on it, and I bid on it.
You lost.
Yes,
you lost.
No, but it was mine.
It teaches a life lesson that sometimes you can't always get what you want. But
says Mick Jagger.
It says Mick Jagger, right? But I think that what you need to concentrate on, and this is what my wife again and again has told me. And it really helps me with the times that I lost something or I broke something or, I lost out on something on eBay. And what she says is, you have a lot of stuff.
Right.
And it stops me and makes me think, I do have a lot of stuff, and I have a lot of stuff that I really enjoy. And there are some things that you're never going to be able to get everything.
Right.
and that works for you. That works. So you do have a lot of stuff.
Well,
and you're all.
So
you're right.
Yeah, so when you lose out on a bid, don't you go to a place where you go, yeah, but I do have this?
No, I crawl into a little hole and
terrible. What?
I just I scoff.
Poor Dr. Tom, I mean, we could really use him right now.
But it's also like, if it was on eBay once and you lost it, there's a chance it'll be on eBay again. That's what
keeps me going. That's right, James. That's what keeps me going.
But there are other things in life, right? Like your job, your wife, your daughter, right? That are more kind of upfront in your mind most of the time, right, Larry?
Let's try again.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess so. Yeah, you're right.
Let's try a new tack. Puppies.